Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Today we're still building out our 2022 NFL draft prospects. We're looking at this second crop of offensive tackles. We talked about the top guys, Evan Neal, Charles Cross, Ikem Ekwonu. We talked about some of these smaller school prospects, Max Mitchell, Bernie Ryman, Trevor Penning. And we're getting into kind of that tier 2 group of guys. Dylan and I talking pre-show. We both kind of agree there's a pretty significant drop-off after Evan Neal, Charles Cross, and Ikem Ekwonu. Then you have a guy like Bernie Ryman, who I think have a late first-round grade in. And then there's another little bit of drop, and we're talking about these next couple of guys. Starting off, we already talked Sean Ryan on the previous one. Starting off with Nicholas Petit-Frere. Dill, what do you see in his game? I know we might be a little lower on him than most people. You've done most of the film on these offensive tackles. What are you seeing in his game?
So I think what you have with Petit-Frere is like a game that was marked by inconsistency, but like flashes of this guy could be very much up with those top three if he played his best more consistently or played at a high level, as you see some of his better moments. Because he has kind of what you want: an athletic, leaner, long arms. When he gets moving and he's moving his feet well, he can get out and get depth in his pass sets, and looks very hard to deal with for DN. So I think if his game was more steady all season, and you didn't see like the moments against Michigan or some of the big schools they played where he was getting worked over pretty good by some of these kind of more premier DNs, I think you'd see a very much a first round level player.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's when you look at his film, that's the one word that comes to mind is inconsistency. The problem with the inconsistency I see is when he's playing the NFL draft caliber talent, that's when he's bad. And like when you're looking at a prospect to go play on Sundays, you want to see him playing good football against guys who he's going to be seeing in the NFL. Aiden Hutchinson dogged him all day. Arnold Abedike dogged him all day. So when you're seeing him play NFL caliber dudes, that's when he's bad. And so it's like, I'm not putting too much stock in a really good piece of film from Tulsa. I want to see you play good ball when it matters against Penn State, when it matters against Michigan, and he just wasn't there doing that. That being said.
Yeah, and so the way I see it, I think if like you get him in a good – I'd love to see him play more of his own scheme run style. I think he's a good athlete. He does a good job getting the linebackers and in blocking while he moves. I didn't see a ton of down blocking, but I think he can do both. So you see the moments, you see – and then you also see like him missing guys on a punch and just getting like left behind and letting guys on his edge or not getting any depth on his pass sets.
Inside shoulder. Like Arnold Abedike was just kind of like getting right into him and kind of driving him back. Hutchinson was just beating him every way possible. And then I saw – so, yeah, he's a good athlete and he was a top 10 recruit coming out.
He was up there, yeah.
I didn't see as consistent of getting the linebackers. Again, and I watched the film on the bigger games. Penn State, those guys, those backers are good at Penn State. And Brandon Smith, Alice Brooks. And so, yeah, it's harder to get up on those guys. But like, I didn't see that as well either. I'm not as big of a fan as you are of him. That being said, he does have the traits. You see the traits, and you clean it up. And if you clean it up and that translates to better play against some of those top guys, yeah, I think it's a good pick. I probably am comfortable with taking him outside of that top 50.
Yeah, that seems a little low to me, but
yeah, I'm low, 100%. But I also watched only the film of those bigger games, so I didn't see.
Yeah, I mean the Michigan game was really bad, but I don't know. I think you do see moments where he shows that he could be really good.
He was good in the zone. Those like stretch zones in a Master T. They were very successful with those stretch zones, running to his side and Master T kind of hitting one of those holes for some big plays. So, yeah, he's an interesting guy. The obviously physical traits, great high school recruit.
Not that I care one lick about that, but
All right, let's
you're a
move
big
on.
high school recruit guy. Oh, look at this guy should be good.
I'm not gonna discount guys who
24/7 had him high.
But it is foolish to discount like these guys who their job is to go follow these high school guys and like project them and see how good. Like that's all athleticism. Like they're just looking at like does this guy have the tools to be
but I don't like I don't know.
Player. And like they
do
normally a pretty good job. Like if you look at the top 50 high school recruits, most of them are getting drafted in the NFL and playing pretty good. Like there's a strong correlation there. So like those guys don't.
Well, of course, it's not like stupid, but I mean, you also saw it. I just put no. I don't care. It's like if you see him playing college, that's what matters. Is that
fair enough? Then I don't know how you're so high on him because he stinks.
Whatever.
Rasheed Walker comes in at your next rankings. What do you see in Rasheed Walker's game that you like, and maybe some holes in his game?
So I think what you have with Rasheed Walker, I don't totally see him as a left tackle. I mean, that is what he was playing at Penn State. I think he's kind of more set to be a right tackle in the league.
Yeah.
Because I think what you see is really pretty good power in the run game. Yeah. And he's got the tackle body, bigger frame, long.
I was surprised to see him 6'6". I didn't think the length jumped out at me, but
I was surprised too. But the things are you do see a little bit. He is a bit of a lunger in his pass protection, so that is not great. I don't think he's got the most smooth feet like a Charles Cross kind of thing. So that's kind of why I see him falling more into the right tackle role, just because I think what stood out is power, a bit more of a wider base. And
what about guard?
Yeah, I mean, that's I guess he doesn't work at tackle. Could he play guard? Sure, but I think if you're going to draft him where I think he's going to go, I think you're drafting him to play right tackle. Is kind of my mind.
Yeah, fair enough.
But if he cleans up I think you see a lot of college players do it, but when stopping his feet on first contact, I think that's the one of the other things that stood out is, and just the really good left tackles kind of can punch and move and stay mirroring guys. And I think there's a level of athleticism that takes that maybe Rasheed Walker doesn't quite have, but I still see him as a pretty good, safe right tackle pick.
The best guy, I see what you're talking about, just keeping those feet moving, mirroring guys, Charles Cross, and he's just elite at that. So good.
Yeah.
All right, next guy, Jackson Kirkland. You're going to see some fight with me. I really do not like this prospect. I'll let you start. What do you say?
Well, why don't we just take him? Because I know what you like Daniel Fellaile better. That's basically what.
It's not even that. I just don't like Jackson Kirkland that much. Daniel Fellaile, let's talk about them in a group, I guess.
Yeah.
Daniel Fellaile is he's a novelty. I mean, we haven't seen a guy this size play football. 6'9", 380 pounds. He's an absolute monster and has the problems that you would think he has a 6'9", 380-pound guy would have. That being said, the length and just the sheer size, you're not expecting his feet to be incredible. He's hard to reject because we've never seen a guy like that. But I didn't think the film was that bad. I didn't see him getting abused.
I don't think they asked a whole lot of him in the pass game. It seemed like he had a lot of tight ends on the other side. They don't really do. They don't do drop back throwing. Everything's very quick. So that's a huge concern, is that he never had to prove an ounce of real consistent pass protection like all these other guys kind of did.
Yeah.
And my problem is you don't see guys that size work out. It's just not I feel like teams try it every so often, and it just generally is. And I don't even think Daniel Fellaile is shown you'd want to see some semblance this guy could really be a unicorn athletically. He's just huge. I don't think you see he's also a good athlete, because I don't really think he is.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not gonna super go to bat for this dude. Just because I think you're
Jackson Kirkland has the potential to be a legitimately good player. Like
He's
he
got
has
for being 6'7". I'll give him that.
Well, that's the thing is he's an incredible athlete. He's long as can be. If he uses his hands well and gets his hands on guys, I think he was fairly effective when he was doing it. I mean, the clear problems are like, he's got to get way stronger because he looked like he was like on ice at times, especially against the good guys like your Aiden Hutchinsons of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, his feet were like legit sliding around like a deer on ice. So that's got to be. But I think what you have with him is potential to be very good if you can get him stronger and get him and like get his game to where maybe it could end up. And I think that's when you're drafting tackles. Like, well, Daniel Fellaile is never going to be a good tackle in my mind. He might be a decent guard. Is kind of how I see it.
Yeah, Jackson Kirkland, from what I saw, was just like you said. People just got when you give up some of that leverage when you're 6'7", but he's only 310 pounds. So I mean, he just did not have an anchor. And Hutchinson, somebody who has that power and length and speed, I mean, just kind of ran circles around him. Just drove him right back to the lap of the quarterback. Kind of the things you mentioned. And yeah, I guess you're right. If you put on some muscle, you put on and get that anchor up. Like he probably shouldn't be playing at 310 pounds when you're 6'7".
And he looks thin too.
He's a beanpole. Like, yeah, he's a legit beanpole out there. That being
like
said,
his legs are thin and
legs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like you put on some weight, get that anchor going. I'm excited to see him. I think he's going to the Senior Bowl. I'm excited to see him and how he does. If he like improved any of that, and you'll see him in those 1v1s. Because right now, if you don't have an anchor, like you're just giving up so much. Like those.
Yeah, I mean there are clear problems. I just think if you're going to look at these two together and you're going to say Fellaile, I mean, fine. If you're going to debate who's going to be a better guard, sure, Fellaile is going to be a better guard. But like, Fellaile doesn't even, in my mind, project to being particularly like a startable tackle in the league.
He's not, and Daniel. Another problem that I saw Daniel Fellaile is like I didn't see as much of a mauler as like you would expect for a 6'9".
He's not a very explosive guy. You can't.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, he doesn't like fire out of his stance. He crawls out of there, and he's not like moving guys a ton. And partially because that is 6'9", it's hard to like play with a low pad level and get the leverage on guys to move them around.
That's my problem. Is like you want like to say Jackson Kirkland's worse, but and I don't love Jackson Kirkland. I thought the play was like way below kind of what you'd want to see, especially this year. Like
he was definitely a guy who was up around 4 or 5 and just kind of
his all Pac-12 tackle coming into the year and obviously struggled for part.
And it was tough because he played that primetime game against Michigan.
And he looked horrible.
And that was like that's a horrible way as a second game this season, ABC, 7:30 at night. Everyone's watching. You got Hush versus Kirkland. It's going to be a great matchup. And he just I thought he cleaned it up a little bit as the season went on. But again, that's Pac-12. Like you're not seeing like some elite edge guys. He didn't see Kevon Thibodeau. So
I don't know. I think Kirkland, maybe more of a third round guy is kind of where I see him. Maybe third or fourth.
I don't. You're talking me into like, he had good feet and he has the length, and now it's just like put on some weight, dude. You got to get stronger and you got to get that anchor up. And if he does do that, which is like a fixable thing, like you get in, your job is to become just a stronger,
strong. Yeah, dude. Exactly.
He could be a good tackle. So okay, that's fair. I'm comfortable having Kirkland.
I also don't think it's crazy to say Max Mitchell's a better prospect than Kirkland. We're not going to go too much into Mitchell now because we talked about him in the other episode, but
he's a Senior Bowl guy. I really think that.
I got him, Penning. Yeah, you want to see all of them in the Senior Bowl because they really didn't, especially Penning. I'll withhold judgment on him until maybe the Senior Bowl because I know a lot of people love him. For the life of me, I can't make sense of it watching his games at UNI, right? But withhold. I mean, if he comes and dominates the Senior Bowl, like
And then Max Mitchell is
Well,
a
then.
dude who 6'6", 300 pounds, kind of similar to Kirkland. Just like he needs to fill out that frame a little bit. But he played.
He's
really
a more
good.
tougher, like more aggressive,
But
like
in a
not as much of a
weak
finesse
division
guy.
like that
Yeah, no,
conference
that's
is not
definitely
good.
true. But
And so that's what you're going to want to see. Senior Bowl, how are you doing against some of the best edge defenders and some of the best defensive linemen in the country? And that'll be
and
interesting
then
to see.
and just to
Last guy,
round this out, I
Chris
think
Paul.
Chris Paul is another probably a bit of a Senior Bowl. Like what you see with him, I think that really stands out is like I'm curious to see where his arms come in because they looked like you look like he has like a different level of length. Watching him against Ohio State, I think there's like some obvious weird technical flaws. Like it seems like he plays awfully high. Seemed like he was kind of off balance a fair amount. But if you can refine that game and the length, I think he's got the athleticism to be a tackle. I know a lot of people have him at guard, but I think his length combined with athleticism, if you can tighten the game up, and again, he's coming up Tulsa, so a smaller program and get elite coaching in the NFL, I think you would see a solid tackle there. But another guy you want to wait for the Senior Bowl a little bit because it's Tulsa.
Yeah, and that'll do it for our second tier of offensive tackles. Probably the last like actual tier we will do, and then we'll get some film in on some more prospects, but maybe just kind of order them up at the end. Max Mitchell will probably work his way up. Him and Trevor Penning, kind of with that Rasheed Walker, Kirkland, Fellaile crop. But after that, it's kind of like what projects do you want to take on? Like there's probably not many NFL ready tackles, but there might be some guys that you like an Abraham Lucas that you wanna get in, and we'll kind of rank them.
To be honest, for me, after Rasheed Walker, I think it gets like tough. Like then it gets to guys who like they didn't even really dominate college, which is like that's hard.
Yeah, so then it's just,
not that Rasheed Walker or Petit-Frere did, but you saw at times like really dominant.
Oh yeah, I mean Nicholas, I like as much as like I'm bagging on him, like he's still a good like he has a very high potential to be a good tackle in the NFL. I just like I'm not gonna put him over Bernie Ryman or Sean Ryan because just it wasn't there on the film versus those guys put out legit good film. So yeah, we'll get through maybe one more crop of tackles and just kind of list them here, and then that's probably it because there probably won't be many more tackles that are going to go in the draft. We're going to be doing a next crop of edge rankings this weekend as well, so stay tuned for that. And once again, appreciate you guys rocking with the ROC Boys, and we will talk to y'all soon. Peace.